Guys, this is Kaz James again. We're at Compassion CD for Upper Room, and tonight Stephanie Hart speaking. Say hey, Stephanie.
Hi.
Hi. This is her first time on video. She's shy. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy. Oh, and this is Lucas Wilkes. I hope you guys enjoy the message that she's going to bring tonight, and we'll see you in a second.
No pressure. All right. So tonight I'm going to speak on something I deal with a lot. And I feel like a lot of us deal with it, but it's not really talked about. And that is shame and the way shame affects us in our lives without even knowing about it. So, Trey, if you'll start off, we'll just start off with a verse that has really spoke to me in my life. And it's 1 John 4:18. It says, "There is no fear in perfect love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears is not been made perfect in love." Okay, so for this verse, I think of fear as something I'm scared of, it's something I worry about, but to me this verse means something completely different. If we change the one word, which is fear, and we put shame. And it says, "There is no shame in love, but perfect love casts out shame. For shame has to do with punishment, and whoever is ashamed has not been made perfect in love." So, shame is a mistake we've made. Shame is a night where you went out drinking, clubbing, you met a guy, whatever it is to you. Shame, it has to deal with mistakes. For me, my shame was in December of 2015. I went out with the guy I was seeing, and we went out drinking for his birthday, which I didn't live for the Lord at the time. A couple hours passed, we'd been drinking, and I don't remember much of that night, and I still don't to this day. But I do remember bits and pieces, and I remember sitting on the curb of the bar we were at, and I was in handcuffs. I remember waking up in a police car at the jail when they told us we were there. And I remember being booked, and then I remember being put in with the population, and then I got to call my dad, and my dad came and got me. Thank God for Dad. He wasn't happy though. He was so mad. Oh, he wouldn't look at me. It was awful. But that night, for me, it ruined everything. It took away every good thing I thought I was, every good thought I thought I hadn't crossed that line. You know, there's a line between where you're really bad and where you're not. And I was still on this side of the line to me. And I talked to my dad about this a couple months ago, or we talk about it frequently now. And I tell my dad how ashamed I was and how I felt so bad and so guilty for doing that and for putting him in that position and for making him look bad and making myself look worse. And my dad looked at me and he said, I never regret you getting arrested. I never regret you being bailed out. He said it might have cost a lot of money for one night of drinking, but I don't regret it because you would have never stopped. You didn't see how you were drunk all the time. He said you didn't see how you'd come home drunk, which meant you drove. He said you didn't see how far you'd gone because you didn't know the line that you had crossed. He said, but that night you did. My dad told me that I either straightened up or I left their house. He wasn't going to deal with it. So I'm not going to leave a house that I live in for free. So I decided to straighten up, and my friend invited me to Compassion, and I came with her, and she's always been in my life, and she's loved me through it all. I texted her the night on my way home from being arrested, and she was like, "Well, you think you're going to stop now?" I was like, "Well, there's not much of a choice. If you get arrested again, you don't get away with it." You know, not that I got away with anything. But the mistake and the shame that I felt from that night said I was never going to be enough. Said that I would always be somebody who got arrested. I would always be that girl in the bar that was with a guy. I would always be that. That's what I said to myself for months. And I still remember being so depressed because I had done something so wrong. To me, it was so wrong. I wouldn't be friends with that person. I would look at that person and tell her what an awful person she was. I wouldn't be friends with her. She was nasty. She was disgusting. She was someone I didn't want to be anymore. And the shame of that just weighed on me for months. It's like something I can never get through. And I love the quote from Chris Valentin, and it says, conviction says I did something wrong. I made a mistake. I screwed up. Shame says I am something wrong. So God didn't look at that and say, well, she's worthless, I'm done. Shame says that. Shame and the devil told me that I was never going to add up to nothing, that you would never have this position, you could never do anything you love because that would always follow you around. Sorry. So I came to Compassion for months, and I decided to really make a difference in my life. You know, I got connected with a lot of friends here, and 90% of y'all are my friends, or I know y'all. So I got really connected, and if you knew the me that I was 2 years ago, I'm not that girl. I'm not even close. And it's 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away, and behold, the new has come. To me, that means I'm no longer that Stephanie that I was 2 years ago. I don't have to worry whether those things are going to come back. I don't have to answer for those. That's not who I am now. That's who I was. The shame of it said that I would never get past it. But God said that you're something more. It's just a step up. So her wrongdoings, her shame, I don't feel no more. I don't look at that night and say, oh, what I could have done wrong, because I never would have been here. I would have probably been in either a car accident. I probably would have had alcohol poisoning at one point in my life. I probably would have, alcohol's the first step to drugs a lot of the time. And I partied with a lot of drug heads. I didn't do that, but it was only a matter of time before the peer pressure gets to you. Or the night you just drink too much and you just say, okay. But his love is so perfect that it's the meaning of perfect is the without flaw. It's enough, it is pure, and it is exact. It's complete, and it's absolute. That means nobody can ever take it away. Nobody can ever say that I'm never going to do anything, because he says I can. He took what was broken and he fixed it. His love is so great that he died on a cross for me. He said that everything you've done wrong it's okay. I can take it. His grace covered everything I did. And a lot of the times, the shame will make us feel like you can never be loved. You can't get closer to me because you don't know who I really am. You don't know what I was. I feel like I still, in meeting somebody, she's so nice, she's so great, but you don't know who I was. You don't know what I did wrong. That's not something I have to fear anymore. That's not something I worry about anymore. Gosh, sorry. To take all my wrongs, it took one choice. It took me accepting God and choosing to live through him. Life's not easy after being with Jesus, but it's a lot. I'm not depressed. I don't live with the battles I used to live with. I don't live with the uncertainty and unhappiness of what's to come, because, somebody knows what is coming. I don't, but he does. So if I just rest in him, it'll all be okay. And if you just think about it, and you really think about all the things you've done wrong. Like, I drank. I'm not pure anymore. I can't tell you how many lives I probably put in danger through all those years. But if you really look at everything you've done wrong, and he still loves you, and he still says you're worth it. He says you're perfect. He says, I can make you whole again. And I think, and in closing, I think the song that is perfect, and I got so wrecked when I heard the song, and it was called Extravagant. It's by Bethel. And extravagant, I had to look up the definition of it because that's just a big word for me. It's got an X in it. You know, I don't use X's a whole lot. So it means, it means lacking restraints, exceeding what is reasonable. Another definition of it is it's highly priced. And he paid the highest price. He paid for you. He paid for me. He paid for everyone. Whether we choose him or not, he still died to take that sin. And how can someone like me be priceless? How can I be worth such a high price that he took a beating? They stabbed him. They didn't break his legs. I did learn that. But they did all these awful things just so I could make it into heaven. Just so I could try to live like he lives, love like he loves, and just share what he gave me. Because he gave me hope. He gave me a shameless life now. Something I don't have to look back and say, oh, I'm so sorry I did all those things. I'm sorry I'm not that person anymore. And we can all make a difference in that. So, I am done. Ta-da!
Guys, that was Stephanie Hart speaking tonight at Upper Room. I hope you enjoyed. Get off. Get off. I hope you enjoyed the message. Like I said, I'm Cash James, and by the way, this is Victor, the cameraman, and Stephanie Hart, the speaker. You know, she did an excellent job. I loved it, and I hope you guys learned something from it, because you know, y'all need to learn a little bit more. But anyways, be looking for upcoming videos. Like, comment, and subscribe. I know. And follow me on Instagram if you want to.
Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. Oh. Sorry guys, they stopped the recording like in doob. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Peace.